Hello guys, and welcome to my channel. Out of all of the Disventure Camp seasons so far, Season 1 has definitely been my favorite. But what makes a season good? It is the cast, and I would say this season had the better cast. Sorry Season 2. So today we're going to be ranking the Season 1 cast from worst to best. And if you want to, tell me your rankings in the comments below. Before I get to the ranking, let me talk about the hosts real quick, since I won't be counting them in the ranking. This season was pretty interesting since we had two hosts, being Trevor and Derek. I really like Trevor, and he's one of the more nice hosts we ever had. Definitely compared to like Crystal and even like Chris from Total Drama. But Derek, oh Derek, I just don't like him. I tried to give him like a second chance when I rewatched the season, but I just cannot like him for some reason. He's just a jerk and really nothing else. He should honestly just stay in jail, but that's just me. Let me just stop being so harsh. I guess they kind of work decent together, but Trevor is definitely the superior one. Then there's also Jensen, but like honestly, completely forgot about him as Distin. I have like almost no opinions on him. I guess he's just there. Let's finally get into ranking the cast. Some people might say characters like Jake or Will are the worst, but I actually have to disagree. For me, my least favorite character in Season 1 was Drew. I know this character has his fans, but I just don't see the appeal. There is one word to describe him: boring. I would say he was a unique concept, like him not talking, but we do have characters like B in Total Drama, and honestly, I prefer B. B had some charm to him, which Drew kinda lacks. He was just in Season 1 to be an easy character for Gret to frame. He honestly didn't do anything to make me hate him though, like with a character I will mention later. But again, I just found him boring. Him like writing on his like notepad, I guess was kinda cool, but I don't know, I just wasn't a fan of him. Even though I don't like him, he does have a nice design. Sadly, Drew fans, he is my least favorite Season 1 character. Next up is the first boot of Season 1, being Will. I am pretty sure no one is shocked that he's ranked this low. It is hard for a first boot to be like super likable, since of the little screen time they get. And honestly, I didn't even enjoy like the couple episodes he was in. He was just a scary cat and kind of got bullied by a demon child. And he was just there to show that Fiore isn't an innocent little girl that everyone thinks she is. Even after saying all that, there are some things I do like about Will. You can tell he's a very nice and kind person, and his small time with Ashley was nice. But his little screen time and him getting bullied by Fiore made him be super low in my ranking. Don't really have much more to say about Will. Next up is another early boot, being Nick. Sorry to like the two Nick fans out there. Nick is an interesting character because I'm pretty sure he made it super far in the beta. I don't know if he was super good in the beta, but Season 1 Nick was not my favorite. You know what sucks too? I actually enjoyed him the first couple episodes. I think he was actually pretty decent and I had no really problems with him. His friendship with Lil was good at the start, but nope, they had to ruin it and Nick started not trusting Lil. And this is when I started having some problems with Nick. And the sad part too, their friendship had so much potential too. Also, Nick had a pretty interesting backstory, which I felt like they could have worked with, but they just didn't. Even though Nick was a jerk at times, and believed a child instead of like people in his alliance, I didn't absolutely hate him, and he had some pretty funny lines. After thinking more about it, I'm starting to like Nick a little bit more. Sadly, this couldn't help him move up the ranking though. The next character has problems, yes, but I don't think I can justify pinning Nick above him. This character I really don't like at all. The only reason this character was able not to get last place because he had more screen time, and there was few moments where I didn't want to pull my hair out. Just kidding, he ain't that bad, but still not the biggest fan of him. He honestly grew on me a tiny bit, but I couldn't save him from being on the bottom half of my list. It is our favorite character being Jake. Not going to lie, Jake wasn't that bad at the start, and his relationship with Miriam was actually nice. But they did Jake really dirty as the season went on. He just complained and like believed everything he heard, causing problems between him and Tom. Again, they weren't bad together at the start, but as the show went on, it kind of just wasn't that good. I feel like most of his actions too weren't even that acceptable. I know he had like a hard past and went through a lot of problems, which I understand, and I know it must be difficult for him. But he was a jerk at moments, and just made everything about him. The episodes that best showed this was episode 10 and 11. I just really did not enjoy him those two episodes. I'm not supporting Ellie's actions, and the thing she did was really messed up. but I just can't stand Jake in the later episodes. Also, Jake is the reason why my boy Tom got eliminated. Honestly, Jake did more harm than good for Tom. I'm pretty sure he also got him fired in one episode. Jake, what are you doing? Even though I'm not the biggest fan of him, he isn't necessarily a bad written character. If you like Jake, that's fine, and I can see why people like him, but I just don't. Honestly, him, Nick, and the next person I mentioned could honestly swap places. This is the most average character on the list, being Dan. He isn't necessarily bad, but he isn't amazing. He was one of the more smart players and had some pretty good moments. He did try to start a guy alliance, but that didn't work. Then he had a small friendship with Gabby, but broke her trust, causing him to get eliminated. Dan was honestly kind of boring, and I wouldn't hate it if he got eliminated earlier. I honestly kind of wish he did get eliminated earlier. I feel like some of the characters that got eliminated before him were more interesting, and I feel like could have a better plot and just in general be better characters. But I also don't absolutely hate Dan, so it's not the biggest problem. He had the trope if you lose your glasses you can't see anything, which I always find I've never, it's I guess it can be funny to some people. I just find it alright. Him and Velma must be twins or something, because they're pretty similar with that aspect. Okay, you know what's bad? By writing a script, it made me realize how uninteresting Dan is. I wouldn't drop his placement, but he doesn't necessarily do anything to make me dislike him. So that's why he is this place. Even though he maybe should be lowered, but right now I'm just gonna keep him where he's at. Next up is Ellie. I know some people might disagree with hitting Ellie this kind of low, but Ellie was a character I originally had way higher. But I did bring her down a decent amount. I feel like Ellie struggles with some of the same problems that Jake does, but just not as bad, and just in general, I prefer Ellie a lot more. For example, some of her more worst episodes were probably 10 and 11, which are also similar to Jake. She was also just used by Alec and Fiore to cause problems between Jake and Tom. I feel like messing with Jake was kind of messed up, definitely since they seemed to be friends at the start, but I guess it added drama, but I don't know. I do like her relationship with Gabby, and it was handled better than whatever they did of Tom and Jake. She was honestly at times a relatable character. She worked 2 draws and didn't really care about anyone except for Gabby. You can really tell she really wants to win the season. She honestly had a pretty good reason why. She is definitely a more cold and serious type of character, but does show kindness at times, definitely towards characters like Gabby, which is nice. I'm pretty sure she won the beta season, which was interesting and good for her. Ellie and the characters after her aren't bad and are pretty good characters. Next up is everyone's favorite crazy and animal lover, being Gabby. Gabby is definitely not bad this season, but I do just find her just alright. Some more positive things about Gabby was her relationship with Ellie, and how much she cared about her. She even used her own immunity idol to keep Ellie safe, which was definitely very nice of her, and you can tell Gabby does really like Ellie. I do wish we saw a little bit more of the relationship, but the amount we did get was still pretty good. She also had the thing with Gret, which was alright, but it was basically just Gret using Gabby. I just found it alright. Didn't necessarily like it, didn't hate it. Another positive that was low-key underrated was Gabby and Tom's friendship. Also, I just really liked how they worked together to solve the case about Trevor, Derek, and Jensen, the problem they had. I actually just really enjoyed that. This is another friendship I wish we saw more of, because I actually did enjoy the small amount we got. There is one problem I have with Gabby. It is how she kind of plays the victim card sometimes. Definitely with characters like Dan and the purple team. Yes, somehow blame this character even though others have done way worse to you. I get she's a more emotional player, but this is part of the game. You're going to have to deal with people voting you out. And the worst part, she didn't even get eliminated. Also, this was pretty early in the show too. Dan doesn't really know you, and honestly, no one does. But that was actually the only problem I had with her. She was actually a pretty good character. Next up is Gret. Honestly, Gret was a character I really didn't like when I first watched the show. But when I decided to watch it a second time, she kind of grew on me. Also, for her and all the other characters, I'm not counting All-Stars. They'll be getting their own ranking video eventually, because if I counted All-Stars, Gret would definitely be higher on the list. But just Season 1 Gret, she was alright to pretty good. She was more of a side villain, but it didn't stop her from being a decent villain at the start. I think her best and most smart move during the whole season was when she got Drew eliminated. That was a smart decision and an easy character to frame, which honestly showed that Gret was a pretty smart character and knew what it take to win the season, which I actually did like. Like I mentioned on Gabby, her and Gabby alliance, or whatever you want to call it, was just alright. Again, she was just mean to Gabby. But some other things I liked about Gret is that we actually learned some of her backstory, and maybe why she acts like this during the show. With her mom only praising her brother, and kind of thought of Gret as a disappointment. So she thought winning money would change that, which honestly kind of gave some good backstory to the character and some depth, which was nice. This honestly just helps you feel some sympathy for Gret, even though at times it could be hard just because how mean she can be. Another thing I like about Gret was her small friendship or alliance with Alec and Fiore. One of my favorite parts is when Fiore told Gret to win the money for her and not for others, which was honestly a really good message for Gret. And you actually can tell Gret kind of took it to heart. Yes, she was mean, but she was a pretty smart player at the start. And this season did give us some small hints that Gret might improve herself, which we do see in All-Stars. This is where I think some people are really going to disagree with me, since this character and the next one didn't last that long. But I just really like them. Taking 6th place is Lil. I know she isn't like the most interesting character, but I really enjoyed her character for some reason. She's a kind soul and one of the few characters to realize Fiore's real side. I honestly do wish Lil lasted longer so we could see more interactions between her and Fiore. I think that'd be very interesting. But she was also a pretty good leader. This is mainly because of her scout leader roots. She's also just a character that just screams Disventure Camp. Like out of all the Disventure Camp characters, she's the most Disventure Camp. I don't know why, I don't know how to describe it, but that's probably because she is a scout leader. I really do think if Lil was in another season, I think she has some really good potential to become a really good character. Sadly, I don't think she's returning anytime soon. Maybe we'll see another season of Lil, I hope we do. But I honestly wouldn't be surprised if we don't. I know she probably doesn't deserve to be this high, but this is my ranking video, so I can do whatever I want to. But also, how can you guys hate Lil? Next up is everyone's favorite overrated cowgirl, being Ashley. Another character that maybe should be lower, but like with Lil, I just enjoy her character. Ashley is a pretty positive character, and is more reasonable than Nick, which we did see when Fiore framed Lil. Nick was more just to believe Fiore and blame Lil, while Ashley was to be a little bit more reasonable and actually thinking, like, would someone in our alliance that we know and trust actually frame us? Which I actually did like about Ashley. She also has so many good small details, like her relationship with Will, friendship with Lil, and learning some of her past. She's also a character that's pretty strong, and can come over her fears, which we did see in the Fear Challenge episode. Is Ashley overrated? Yes, definitely. But again, I just really like her character, and have almost no complaints about her. Overall, I just really like Ashley, even with her short amount of screen time. They did me really dirty by eliminating both Lil and Ashley in the same episode. How disappointing. Okay, now we're getting to the really good characters, or the best characters in season 1. Getting in 4th place is Miriam. Miriam was definitely a character I thought I was not going to like, and also thought she was going to be this early boot. But nope, they actually did something with Miriam, which was nice. At the start, Miriam wasn't amazing, and was honestly a jerk. But luckily, she did change when her and Jake had a conversation during I think I was pretty sure the cooking challenge. And I honestly really liked the message she gave Jake. It was nice to see a softer side of her. Even if I don't like Jake, him and Miriam are really cute and nice together. Also, for her being old, she's actually a really strong player. And she was honestly a good winner too. We also see this character have some good development, which is always nice to see. Even see her later in the season admit that she judges people way too quickly about knowing them, and also grows to have a greater appreciation for the other contestants. Lastly, Miriam was actually a pretty smart player at the end of the season, with helping get Alec eliminated, which was actually a really strong player, and tricking Ellie at the final. She went from this bitter, rude old lady to this sweet and smart grandma. It was nice to see a character have a lot of story development, and actually a pretty good story. Getting 3rd place is Fiore. Overall, a really enjoyable character that had many great moments. Almost have no complaints with her, except for one small one, which I will say right now. Is it me, or do I feel some of the characters kind of got dumbed down for Fiore, just to make her seem like a better villain? She is a decent villain, but I feel some of the stuff the contestants should have been falling for. But again, Fiore was overall a good character, so that doesn't really matter. She honestly made the show very entertaining at times. She was a really smart player for a 6-year-old. How is a 6-year-old smarter than like half the cast? However, she definitely needed to light her brains, because she was actually pretty bad at challenges. Fiore did also stick out this season. You would never expect a 6-year-old to be on a show like this. It was definitely like an interesting choice to have Fiore on the show. Also, her and Alec were amazing together, and I really liked the father and daughter relationship they had. Until she sadly did betray him. But honestly, how can you hate Fiore? She's just a fun villain. Overall, one of the best characters in season 1. There are 2 characters left, which are both amazing characters, but again in second place is Alec. Alec is a fan favorite, and I understand why. He's a really good character throughout the first season. He works with Fiore the whole time and had many good moments with her and just by himself in general. So having 2 really good characters interact is always a good time. Alec was very nice to Fiore and definitely helped her throughout the challenges. At the start, just like Ellie, he was more of a loner. He didn't get involved in 2 problems and kind of stayed out of drama, which again was a pretty smart move. He was also just in general a pretty chill character that read books. Even though he was villainous, he was actually a pretty likable character. Overall amazing character, but just can't be the number 1 slot. My favorite character of Disventure Camp is my boy Tom. Where are my Tom fans at? Where are they at? I absolutely love season 1 Tom. Yes, he had his problems, but I just don't care. Him being like a secret agent or like a police was super cool. And like I mentioned before with Gabby, I really liked their moments together. Also just like how bad Tom was at hiding. He was like part of this secret agent mission thing. Like he was really bad at hiding it. He would just get so guilty and say like the most random things ever, which I actually kind of found funny and also just added some charm to his character. Tom was also in general a nice guy too. He used his immunity idol on someone who wronged him multiple times, even made him lose his job. But still after all that, decided to save this person. He might got eliminated, but he left as a hero. He also had some really good interactions with our favorite grandma, Miriam. Also, Tom was just very sympathetic at times. Definitely with characters like Jake at the start of the season. Not just that, Tom also just dominated in some challenges, like the flag one, the water one where he throws like Alec into the water. And he actually helps Miriam win the season. We also get to see Tom feel comfortable to show his scars, which was nice. He went through a lot this season, mostly with Jake, but that didn't stop him from being amazing. Also, how can we forget? He saved Miriam's money from Jensen. He made sure Miriam got her money she deserved. Honestly, Miriam should give him some money, not gonna lie. Like, he literally saved her money. If he wasn't there, you'd be broke. Another thing I like about Tom, he took some blame in the relationship with Jake, and didn't just put all the blame on Jake. At the end of the season, he said he wasn't innocent, and they actually both made mistakes. He was a character able to take blame for his actions, which honestly for some characters is very difficult. Again, another reason why Tom is amazing. But Tom wasn't just a really good character, he also had a perfect design to go with it. I really like the dark color outfits with like the mask and hoodie. It just looked so good and honestly, a very good design. So if you can't tell, Tom is my favorite character. Let's just ignore All-Stars Tom and act like he doesn't exist. Because season 1 Tom was just extraordinary, awesome, and spectacular.
Look at me.
Just like that, I ranked all Disventure Camp characters from season 1. This is just my opinion. It is okay if you think my ranking was actually hot garbage, you hated it. That's absolutely fine with me. And if you guys want to, just again, tell me your rankings in the comments below.